Hello and welcome to the Just Interesting podcast, the show that's not too boring. It's nothing groundbreaking, to be honest. It's just interesting enough. And joining me today, as always, we've got Martin with us. How's it going, Martin?
Oh, yeah, no, man. I'm good. I'm refreshed. Last week was busy.
Good.
This week hasn't been as crazy. So yeah, it's been a little bit more relaxed. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to be here with a very special guest as well, which I'm sure we come on to, but I'm so excited.
That's right, Martin. We've got a very special guest with us this week, someone who I believe has been on the podcast before. We've got the one and only Alex Jones from the SuperShow podcast, not the Alex Jones that you're thinking of.
Yeah, I'm going to let everyone down now. Not the good Alex Jones. Not even the second best Alex Jones or from like the one show or whatever she's on, but third best maybe. Let's go third.
It's quite a popular name. Quite a popular name, especially in media apparently.
Yes, apparently.
How's it going, Jonesy? What's new?
I'm doing really well, thanks. Yeah, it's really good to be on here with you guys. I can't remember the last time I came on. It's been a while though. It's been like at least maybe a year, 18 months, something like that. Yeah, so excited to come and chat to you guys and hang out for a bit. And last time I was on, Alex, you weren't on because I think you were away. So it's cool to be on here with you as well.
Oh, thank you. I wish I could say the same. No, I'm joking. I'm joking, of course. Do you remember, Alex, last time you were here, do you know what your results were in the quiz? Whether you won or lost or not? You can just say that you won if you want.
I won. I absolutely smashed it. I did amazingly well.
To be fair, I can't remember, so
I can't either.
Might as well say that.
Well, we're going to put that to the test today because I've got a quiz for both of you. So you'll be up against Martin this week, who will be representing the Just Interesting name. So I'm rooting for you, Martin. I shouldn't be rooting for you, but rooting for you. But also this week, as always, we're going to be talking about some things that we learned this week, along with, I thought we'd bring up this story. It's one that I think we covered before on the podcast that shall not be named, but it's always an interesting one. And I'd like to get your guys' opinions on it. It's the Flannan Isles Lighthouse mystery. One of the weirdest Scottish mysteries of all time, dare I say. So we're going to be talking about that in a little bit. But before we jump into that, Martin, what have you learned this week?
Well, I'm keeping this short and snappy. And snappy is kind of the right term, or is it more kind of bitey? Well, because my fact's about polar bears. They bite, they snap, don't they? Sure. So anyway, enough of the snappiness. We're getting bogged down. Polar bears spend a lot of time on sea ice, of course, and they're increasingly spending more time in the water because, of course, the ice caps are quite rapidly melting, which is, of course, incredibly sad. But forget that for a second. The fact that they spend so much time in the water means that they're actually classified as marine mammals.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Which means they're in the same category as animals like seals and whales and dolphins, as opposed to traditional mammals, which I thought was bizarre, utterly bizarre, because they seem so different, don't they? But yeah, apparently they're in that crowd with the likes of seals and dolphins.
Do they want to be in that crowd?
I don't think they
their
do.
Ideal situation?
I think they're a little bit pissed off. They're like, the dolphin gets the credit for being kind of smart, doesn't it? Yeah, great. And whales, I mean, yeah, they don't want to be like a whale, do they?
No,
I just wish they were like a whale.
No. Yeah, they've got fur, for goodness sake. But anyway, yes.
Is there a percentage?
Marine mammals.
Is it like if you're 50%, 51% in the water, you are a marine mammal? So is that the cutoff, do you reckon?
I don't know what the classification for being a marine mammal is, but I know that they can spend days on end swimming in the water without being on the ice.
Wow!
So they they spend a lot of time in the watery depths. Yeah, which is pretty impressive and a surprise to me. I thought that was really surprising.
I watched a video the other day. It was just like a short video clip, but it was these people in a boat and they had a bear. I don't think it was a polar bear. It was just like another bear. Like kind of swimming after them in the boat, and they are scarily quick. They are
in another boat. Like, was it in a speedboat? Like, so they were in one boat, and then the polar bear was in the boat. The polar bear was in the boat behind.
Yeah, shooting at them. Yeah.
Yeah. The world is not enough style.
I see.
They are quick swimmers, though.
Maybe I'm totally wrong, but
Yeah.
we talked about recently on our podcast that the polar bears are one of the only animals that actively hunts humans. Well, this is what I think is true. I'm sure I've heard that.
Wow.
They get
a taste for humans.
This was the conversation about that movie, which I haven't seen, that you mentioned, Jonesy, where the people
is.
at the end up seeing a polar bear outside, and there's only 2 of them left in the world. Spoilers for whatever this movie is, I can't remember the name of. And they'd just be eaten by a polar bear because they wouldn't know what it is.
Yeah, I said that is the worst thing they could see, because the polar bear clocked them. They see the polar bear, and I'm like, they're dead, because the polar bear's just going to come and eat them.
Oh God.
But
yeah,
there you go.
And then the film cuts, so we never know.
We never know.
Yeah.
What do people in in the Arctic Circle sometimes travel around with like packs of dogs on like a sled? I can't remember what that form of travel is. But like, how do they
sled?
What if they sled? Yeah. What if they come across a polar bear? Because surely they couldn't outrun a polar bear with that. I guess they've got a gun with them.
I think they can.
Yeah,
I think they could outrun a polar bear.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Like dogs keep on going as well. I don't know how much stamina does a polar bear have. I'm not sure.
I'll delve a little bit into my personal life and say, so I've actually got a sled dog. I've got an Alaskan Malamute, which is obviously like almost an Arctic breed, and one of the reasons they were bred was to pull sleds. But they're a heavier breed than a Siberian Husky, and they can actually pull, but they can pull for longer distances. So they can pull for like hundreds of miles at a decent pace as well. So I think, but the Huskies are even faster, and they can actually get quite a speed up. So I think. I think a team of dogs is going to outrun a polar bear, but they surely have guns as well, right?
Even if they're dragging a human along, like
they really move, because it's a whole team of dogs. It's like it's not just a few; it's often like 20 or dogs or something like that. Wow. So I don't think the human and the sled are that much of an issue weight wise.
Is that what you do, Jonesy, when you're at the park? Do you have like a little sled?
I did actually have a harness. She's 14 now, so we don't do it anymore. But she did have a harness, and I've worn my rollerblades before, and I've let her pull me along, and it was really cool, terrifying, but yeah, pretty cool.
Nice. So, Jonesy, what have you learned this week?
I learned something that was kind of surprised me, I will say, because apparently we're running out of CO2. Which kind of goes counter to what Martin was talking about a minute ago about the polar ice caps melting. But I've tricked you, because I'm talking very specifically about running out of CO2. And this is the UK is sort of gets its CO2 for the food industry from a number of sources. And those sources have shut down their manufacture at the moment because natural gas has become so expensive. So they've decided to put it on pause and to not produce carbon dioxide, which kind of had me questioning, why are we producing carbon dioxide when surely we should be sequestering it from other places like the atmosphere? Might be a good idea. So I had a quick look into that, and it turns out that for the food industry, they need clean CO2 with no sort of contaminants or anything in it. And one of the ways they do that is through like reactions with like ammonia and water and other stuff that I didn't read enough into probably. But then they managed to get a clean form of CO2, which then they can use in drinks to make dry ice, for packaging, for sending food around the country, keeping it cold, and for like a number of other things in food as well. But it was kind of baffling to me. Surely they can, rather than make CO2 by burning more gas than they need to, they can sequester it.
Yeah. So can they not
purify? Would it take more energy to purify CO2 from other sources? I think that's probably what it comes down to, isn't it?
That was exactly what I was wondering.
I think what's one of the I think you nailed it. But there was actually a company. I found an article from a company back in 2018. They had the same problem back in 2018, ironically, where the UK apparently was going to run out of CO2, and they said this specific company, they only source their CO2 from as a secondary source. So they'll source it from places that are already producing it, and then they'll go in and extract it. But they're quite specific about where they get it from. So if ammonia is being produced for another purpose, like cleaning products, then they will go in and they set up like they'll like connect to the exhausts of where the ammonia is being produced, and they can get the CO2 that way, which is quite a clean source. But they did say that there are certain sources where they'll have sort of toxins and things, and they just can't. It's too expensive. And yeah, the amount of power.
If you're just burning coal, you can't take that carbon dioxide.
But also, goodness, put it in your drink.
Surely you could. Surely you still could. I mean, yeah, like you can suck it out of the air, but they say it's too expensive and too costly. Like, probably should just do it anyway, though, right? Can't be
carbon capture. Yeah, there needs to be some kind of technological advancement in that area, doesn't there? I don't know. I think they opened one, and it was like I remember reading a news story, and it was supposed to be like an uplifting news story where like some carbon capture site had taken out like 60,000 tons of CO2 in the air. And then someone just did the maths, and they were like, okay, so you're going to need like 50,000 of these immediately built in order to just get us down to like, so we're just at level with what we're producing.
Wow.
And it was something crazy. It was more than that, probably. Yeah.
Whereas at the moment, you probably find you do better with just growing grass and then cutting it and then shifting it somewhere to, a big landfill site for grass, and then growing more grass and doing it again.
Yeah.
Just the grass.
Oh, that's interesting though. I never knew that we were making carbon dioxide purely like for the purpose of having it.
Yes, yeah. It then made me wonder, like, where do they use CO2 in food? And it was quite interesting. They use it so they fill like salad bags and things. They fill with CO2, so the food doesn't spoil as quickly because the bacteria, or whatever, can't grow as easily. They use it obviously in soft drinks and in beers, and then they also stun cattle with it, which I guess is they give them a dose of it before they slaughter them, so that they get all dopey. I don't really know.
Oh, right.
So they're saying if we run out of CO2, there's, no soft drinks, no crispy salad, and no beef. So
no crispy chili beef.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. I know that in crisps they also use nitrogen, don't they, in crisp bags to keep stuff fresh.
Right.
I believe. It might be CO2 as well, but I know they definitely use nitrogen. I think it's nitrogen.
Similar reason, I would have. Yeah, same sort of reason. Yeah.
That's why when people are like, there's so much space in this bag, and it's like, yeah, because they've filled it with nitrogen, because if they didn't, it would go off.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah. I do hate that though. When you open a bag of crisps and it's like a tiny little bit at the bottom.
Yeah.
Make the bags twice as big then, and then you half it, and then it's like a full bag of crisps.
All right. Yeah. Or you get one of those grab bags, which are giant bags, but you really don't need that many crisps.
Yeah.
Oh, you always need that many crisps. Jonesy, you're speaking like you don't smash back a grab bag of Doritos Flaming Hot. Actually, you don't like the Flaming Hot.
I don't like Flaming Hot, no.
Doritos Cool Original, or Cool Ranch, as our American cousins would say.
So I'm not a big crisp person. Like I don't go through a whole bag. There are some things I would, but not. Yeah, crisps, not really. They're not really my thing.
What's your snack of choice?
Oh, I see. It's tough at the moment. I don't even know. I'm trying to lay off the bad snacks. I'd say I am a sucker for nacho chips though. So that's kind of the same thing, isn't it? And cheese, like nacho cheese.
Literally the same thing, mate.
No, but like specifically, but
I don't know Doritos, but I like nacho chips.
No, but I mean like nacho. What do you call it? Nachos, like with cheese? The nacho cheese dipping sauce.
Layer up, yeah.
So not on their own, but with a dip. But yeah, I can go to town on some of those.
Fair play. Alex, what about you? Because you struggle a little bit more being the old gluten. You have to have gluten-free stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, most crisps are fine.
Are they? Okay, good.
Yeah, crisps are probably my go-to, but I will pretty much happily chomp down on anything. So yeah, I'm not that fussy.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what my favorite crisps are now. This is an exciting point in the podcast.
Yeah, what would be up there? I used to love, well, they stopped making them now and it's a disaster, but Brannigan's, they made a roast beef and mustard crisp that was spot on. Our good friend Stu as well, who does Debunked, and who was on the podcast a few weeks ago. Stu was a massive fan of Brannigan's too. So I'd bring in a pack for him when I found them at my local shop. But yeah, they've stopped making them. Disaster.
Oh, sad times.
I think anything like sour cream and chives, that kind of thing, and a crisp is just great.
Or like the Pringles, their sour cream and chive ones are pretty good.
Yeah, but I can't have the Pringles. That's the sadly, alas.
Have they got gluten then, Pringles?
Yeah, they're made with wheat starch. Actually, today I learned, maybe I'll make it that, in fairness. Yes, I will. I will make it that, because I will change it to that, because that's come up organically. I'm just thinking of it off the top of my head now. But Pringles apparently sued, they tried to claim for years that they weren't crisps.
Right.
Until the UK government, or like the Supreme Court, found like it went to trial and they were found that they were crisps. And I think there's a different like tax bracket for what they were trying to claim that they were. I think maybe they were trying to claim they were biscuits or something mad.
They were trying to Jaffa cake the whole situation.
They were trying to Jaffa cake the whole situation. And they ended up having to pay back like 160 million or something.
Shit.
So, yeah. And it's because Pringles are something like 40% potato, and the rest is made up of like wheat starch and I don't know, salt or something.
60% salt.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so it is Procter and Gamble is the company that make Pringles, and they argued for years that they're not potato chips. $160 million in taxes they owed because of that.
So now officially they are
crisps.
They are crisps now. Okay.
Yeah.
So what did they give a name to what they said they were?
I'm not 100% sure.
Just call them Pringles.
Snacky yum yums. Yeah. Is it weird? I'm gonna ask this to our audience, especially the American audience. Is it weird that we're calling them crisps? Does that sound strange to you? Crisps. The more I say it, crisps. I mean, it's very descriptive, isn't it? Descriptive.
I mean, it makes more sense than potato chips. Well, I guess it does. It makes perfect sense for them over there as well, because they don't call chips, they call them fries. So I guess it works out.
What do they call the chunky chips? Like, is that a chunky fry? Because like a pub chip in the UK is obviously different to like a French fry.
Yeah, like a pub chip. Pub chip's different to a fish and chip shop chip, which is different to a fry.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you say like French fries are like skinny chips? Do you think of them as skinny chips?
I call them French fries.
Yeah, I like McDonald's. I would say that like those skinny chips are like French fries. Yeah.
Yeah, I call them fries with those ones.
Yeah.
Whereas a thick chip, I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. What do you call them outside of the UK? Potatoes, fries. Yeah, fries, aren't they?
Fries. I suppose they would just call them fries.
To answer your earlier question about what they tried to claim that they were, so their initial argument was that they're not potato chips because they don't contain enough potato to have the quality of potato-ness. And they also argued that Pringles didn't resemble the shape of potato chips and were more along the lines of a savory snack, is what they went with.
Oh, okay, a savory.
So savory snacks is different to crisps.
Apparently so. Yeah.
You think they would do the tax by like how much saturated fats in it and that kind of shit, right? How good it is or bad it is for you, as opposed to just like the shape of it and stuff.
Well, yeah, you would think that. Like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's a value-added tax that is applied to goods bought from a business. Oh, right, okay. No, that's something else.
Reading the legal documents.
Just reading the legal document. This isn't that interesting now. I'm going to move on. But yeah, that was what I learned this week. And it just so happened to come up completely organically. I'm really happy with that. Shall we talk about some of our favorite comments of the week, Martin?
Let's. So I've got a comment from G Gerald H, and G Gerald commented on last week's podcast and says, "I'll be honest, I actually love British food. The simplicity is what I admire." And I want to add to this: whilst some British food is nice, some British food isn't as nice. What I will say is that I had a sticky toffee pudding today, and if you're not British and you haven't tried a sticky toffee pudding, you are missing out. And sticky toffee pudding, I think, is possibly the most underrated export from the UK, and I won't hear any different.
It's very good.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, it's a very nice dessert, and like you say, yeah, it doesn't get as much appreciation.
It gets overlooked. Yeah. People go, "Oh, fish and chips," and that's about it. But no, sticky toffee pudding is the greatest British food by a mile.
Wow. Would you agree with that, Jonesy?
I was going to say, I do love a sticky toffee pudding. I like Christmas pudding as well, though. I don't know if that's specifically like a British thing. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to go on a limb and say yes.
I'm a big fan of that.
I'll be wrong. Yeah. Christmas
pudding.
That's quite
rare.
Controversial.
Yeah, that's a controversial one to have as your favorite.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I associate it with Christmas, but I love a Christmas pudding. But sticky toffee pudding is fantastic. Yeah, a really good one as well. Oh, yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
What about a crumble? What about an apple crumble? Is that British? A crumble? Or
don't know.
Yeah, it must be, right?
Maybe, but it's not the same tier as a sticky toffy pudding.
No, I don't like a crumble.
That's definitely not on the same tier then.
No, I'm not a crumble fan.
Which is the bad part? Is it the fruit, or is it the crumble, or is it both?
It's the fruit for sure. I don't like heated fruit puddings.
Stewed fruit.
Yeah, stewed fruit is so the person who said that question, who said they like British cooking because it's simple. It's like, yeah, but sometimes it's a bit too simple when all you've got in your apple crumble is just stewed apple, and it's like so sour and like, whoa, no, I'm not into that.
I mean, the ratio of crumble to fruit has to be right for me to enjoy an apple crumble. Yeah, like if you get given it and there's a few sprinkles of crumble on the top, no, take that back. That's not
a lot of crumble. You got. I also add a whole load of cream onto mine always. Douse it in cream. Clotted cream probably the best. Failing that, extra thick double cream, and then I'll take whatever was given after that. So
we should have a cooking channel.
Mate, pudding. We should just eat puddings on this instead.
Oh, I love it. Great. So I've got a comment, and this is just to explain a bit of context for Jonesy. You may have not have seen last week's. But I was saying how Ronald McDonald has recently gone out of favor, and he hasn't been seen in McDonald's for years now.
Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it?
McDonald's has pretty much retired him as a mascot. And I basically claimed that there's a 1% chance that I had something to do with it. And part of the reason is because in 2016, the killer clown craze, that was, according to some McDonald's insiders, the final nail in Ronald's coffin. And I was making videos for the Conspiracy Channel. And one of those videos was about the killer clown craze that got 30 million views. And then a bunch of other videos popped up about it. So I think there's a 1% chance that I killed Ronald McDonald.
You were definitely part of it. The death of Ronald.
And Joseph Stalsberg says, listening to Alex confess his culpability in ending Ronald's career, I can just picture Ronald in his rundown apartment as he turns off the podcast, unsubscribes from the channel, and mutters, "You son of a bitch," while he draws another tear on his cheek. I hope you're happy, Alex. And I just love that for the visual imagery of and the fact that Ronald McDonald watches our podcast. I like that.
Oh man, they're so scary. I mean, the killer clown craze won't have helped him, but he's not helping himself, is he? I mean, look at him. What an absolute mess.
what an absolute mess.
What a mess of a mascot.
Who drew it?
Some scary red-headed clown.
So who came up with it or drew it and then went, yeah, that's a great mascot? Like, surely they were like, someone said, no, that's horrendous. Don't do it.
I'm not sure who drew him, but he was really popular. Like I think he came up in the 70s. That was when he was first introduced. And then from there, he had like a TV show that went on for like a decade.
Ronald, weird. Like, the 70s was weird,
or something.
Like you look at, we've spoken about it before in the podcast, but the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the 70s one, that's weird, isn't it? It's like strangely low budget kind of, still looks like a set, like a weird set, and the chocolate's all off. It's just, it doesn't look quite right. Yeah, the 70s is some, strange,
the scary
vibes.
tunnel with a beheaded chicken.
And that, yeah.
Is there a beheaded chicken in a scary tunnel? I don't remember that.
Yeah. Towards the end, I'm pretty sure there is like pictures of animals getting, like a chicken getting its head cut off.
Oh, weird.
Maybe I added that to it.
Let's rewind it back frame by frame.
I'm pretty sure there was. Now I'm going to sound like a psycho if I'm wrong about that.
You made that up.
It's like an ink blot test. It's like everyone else is watching a lovely film about chocolate and Alex is seeing like decapitated chickens. And...
Yeah, no, the scary tunnel was a little bit random. It was a bit uncalled for. Right, well, shall we move on to our topic of the week, which this week is the Flannan Isle Lighthouse Disappearances.
I'd look at,
ooh, that's what I want. Yeah, we're actually we're coming up to October, so I think it's a good time to be delving into something mysterious and something a little bit spooky. Maybe we'll do a few more creepy stories as we head into Halloween season. So if you know any more creepy stories, give us some suggestions in the comments below.
I think when was it? Like, was it last year or the year before we did user submitted ghost stories, which was kind of fun.
Yeah, cool. Anyone who's got any paranormal experiences, let us know in the comments and maybe we'll read them out. Yeah, that was quite a fun one. Cool.
Maybe we'll call you a lying son of a bitch.
Possibly. That does sound like us. So yeah, today I wanted to explore one of the strangest, most chilling, and most bizarre stories in Scottish history: the mysterious disappearance of the Flannan Isle lighthouse workers. So our story begins when a steamship called the Arctur sailed by the Flannan Isles, which is part of the Outer Hebrides on the northwest coast of Scotland, on the 15th of December, 1900. And they saw, with a sense of dread, that the lighthouse on Eileen Moor was switched out, which was switched off. It was unlit.
Switched out.
Which, was an accident waiting to happen. So when the ship reached landfall 3 days later, the captain reported the issue to the Northern Lighthouse Board. Unfortunately, at the time, they couldn't send a ship out straight away because of terrible weather. So a few days later, when the weather cleared, a boat called the Hesperus set sail for the island of Eileen Moor, which is one of these 7 miniature islands of the Flannan Isles, basically. Captain James Harvey was tasked with delivering a relief lighthouse keeper as part of the regular rotation, and also to find out what was going on with the lighthouse. And they finally arrived on the 26th of December. So this is 11 days after they initially found that something could be wrong. So it had taken them quite a while to get there. Obviously, telephones didn't exist at this point, or they weren't that common. No, they didn't exist at this point. 1900. When was the first telephone?
First.
End of like it's got to be the end of the 19th century, right? Or mid 19th century or something like that. But they can't have been common back then.
1876.
Okay, yeah. So they're not common. And they had to wait until they made land before they could even report this. But when the relief team arrived and they arrived on the island, they found that none of the 3 men were there at all. They had vanished.
You got bored and just done one.
Well, I mean, that is one of the theories. The question is, what happened to these 3 lighthouse keepers? Thomas Marshall, James Ducat, and Donald MacArthur were gone.
I wonder how long they're just left to just be, on the little island. That must be brutal if it's any length of time.
I think it is a good length of time. It's for at least a few months, a few months at a time.
That's quite a rough job, especially with just two other blokes, isn't it? It's kind of a bit. You've got to be good friends, haven't you?
Yeah, but I mean, I think they have, or maybe they don't actually. I was going to say maybe they have the ability to leave the island if they wanted to, but no, they get dropped off. They get dropped off on the boat.
It seems like they can't.
They can't even leave.
No.
I wonder how they get in touch with the mainland. Maybe they do have some kind of telegram system in the lighthouse. I don't know. I don't think they did at this point. I think it was
probably just flashed the light.
It was probably quite a dangerous job. Yeah, maybe. So Joseph Moore, the relief keeper, was put ashore alone, and he found the entrance gate to the compound and the main door both closed. So both of the doors were closed. And inside the lighthouse, the beds were unmade and the clocks were stopped, indicating that people hadn't been there for quite some time. However, later stories then came out that people had found, meals left half-eaten and a roaring fireplace going, indicating like they'd only just left. But
we're not sure about
the validity of those stories. Mm-hmm. But we do know for sure that the clocks had stopped. And he returned to the ship with grim news before returning to the lighthouse with a second mate and a seaman. Further research, and they investigated the whole island, found that the lamps had been cleaned and refilled, and there was one oilskin coat that was still hung up by the door, which was an odd find, because if they had left the island, why would one of them leave their coat behind? They only had 3 coats. One each.
Man, yeah. That is odd. It does make you feel like it does sound like one of them has gone out without at least one of them has gone out without it, not purposefully meaning to get into trouble, perhaps.
Yeah. And it's also a breach of violation for all 3 of them to leave the lighthouse at once, because there has to be one person that remains by the lighthouse at all times, a keeper of the lighthouse.
Like no matter what, one has to stay there. Okay.
Yeah. So that could indicate that something, forced this last person to leave in a hurry, possibly. Like much of a hurry that he left his coat. So when an investigation was carried out, they found a promising lead. So over on the west side of the island, there was damage to the landing platform. Damage from the recent storms reached as high as 200 feet above sea level. Ropes that were usually affixed to a crate on the supply crane had been, strewn about the island, and there was the forces were so strong that even metal gates had been twisted and bent out of shape, and there was a primitive train track on the island for moving supplies up and down from the landing strip to the lighthouse, and the iron grates in the iron tracks had been torn out of the tracks.
So what were they thinking? What were they hypothesizing that this was due to?
Well, it could have been, really bad weather, but really, really bad weather. Yeah. So a tsunami, basically, that for some reason didn't hit anywhere else in Scotland or the Hebrides. This would have had to have been a very isolated incident for no one else around to have been aware that a storm this bad would have damaged the island. So 200 feet above sea level at this point, that was 60 meters they'd found damage. And for context, the largest rogue wave that's ever been recorded was about 30 meters tall.
It's twice the size of that then.
Yeah.
So did you say that the ship that went out to take the relief lighthouseman that had to wait because of bad weather, so that couldn't go out initially.
For 3 days.
So there was bad weather, but there just wasn't like an insane storm kind of thing.
Yeah.
If there was, it wasn't
I think
recorded.
So.
It wasn't right.
I think there was bad weather, but there wasn't like, it wasn't anything that like no one had ever seen before, presumably anyway, because when they were back at the before they left for the island, no one made a note saying, wow, this storm is literally the worst we've ever seen. However, this is another thing that was unverified. Years after this incident, locals said that there were reports of journal entries that were found at the lighthouse from the 3 lighthouse keepers. And in the journal that they said, there were terrible storms and storms that were so bad that the lighthouse keepers were brought to tears. And then apparently the final logbook entry simply read, "Storm ended, sea calm, God is over all," which is ominous.
Mm-hmm.
But these journal entries have never cropped up again. No one knows what happened to them, if they ever existed at all. So we can't really rely on them as solid evidence. So Robert Moorhead, superintendent of the Commissioners of Northern Lights, wrote in his official report regarding the incident, "I am of the opinion that the most likely explanation of this disappearance of the men is that they had all gone down on the afternoon of Saturday, 15th of December, to the proximity of the West Landing to secure the box with the mooring ropes, and that an unexpectedly large roller had come up on the island, and a large body of water going up higher than where they were and coming down upon them had swept them away with resistless force." So that was the leading theory, and still is, quite honestly, that a freakish rogue wave of some kind swept them away. And there's another piece of evidence that supports this theory as well. So Thomas Marshall, one of the 3 lighthouse keepers, had previously been fined 5 shillings for letting his equipment get washed away during a huge gale.
Oops,
exactly. But if he had equipment down by the western, part of the island, and he was in the lighthouse and there was bad weather happening, maybe he was incentivized by that to go down and make sure it was secure. And then at this point, massive wave could have come and swept him away.
Then one of the other guys, or 2 of the other guys, see what's happened. Oh my God, he's been swept away. Rush down, not picking out the coat because they're in a hurry to try and save. And they also get swept away too. Ooh, yeah, okay.
It doesn't necessarily explain though why both of the doors from the compound and the lighthouse were shut. Yeah, they were locked, I believe.
It being locked and then the coat still being inside. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. If you're living in a rush, you certainly don't lock the doors. You're more likely to grab your coat. I mean, who are you locking them from?
Yeah, that's weird. Locking the doors is really weird on a random little island that no one's going to be there.
Yeah, exactly. With only 3 of them on the island, who's going to get in? There was apparently sheep on the island as well, so possibly they were worried about that. But I couldn't imagine that. So that's a good theory. However, I mean, there is a lack of bodies, which isn't that surprising if they got washed away out into the Atlantic or wherever. But apparently there was a logbook entry that suggested the storm had already passed. Oh, I think that was the last logbook entry in the alleged logbook entry.
Right.
So we can't really rely on that. So yeah, it's a pretty good theory. But we have that same problem of there was a 60 meters damage above the sea level. So that would have been twice the size of the largest wave, like rogue wave, ever recorded. However, there is also a possible answer to this as well, and it relates to the geography of the island itself. So there's lots of the way that the island's structured, if you look at it, it almost looks like a starfish, almost, in that there's quite a few like caves and fingers of the island stretching out. I'm trying to describe this. Probably not describing it very well.
That makes sense. Yeah,
So
coves and caves.
Yeah, lots of coves, lots of caves, and geos, they're called. So these bits of the land that have been washed away by millions of years of the sea just battering it. And so if a rogue wave hit the island at just the right angle, it's thought that the water could have rushed into one of these geos and exploded out with a massive force,
right,
kind of propelling it that high into the air, and that could have washed them away, possibly.
We've all seen that, haven't we? Like when you watch videos of like a giant wave hitting the like a wall near the seaside, and then it just like goes flying up the wall and then gets people soaking wet, and it's hilarious. So
exactly, yeah, a less funny version of that, basically. Yeah, and but this isn't the only theory. There's one theory, kind of less to go on than that theory, but a bit more exciting. That one of the keepers snapped and killed the others, and it's thought that one of the keepers, Donald MacArthur, had a bit of a temper and had apparently a volatile character. And, 3 guys alone on an island for a long period of time, it's possible he may have snapped. Maybe they got into a fight, breaking out near the cliff edge by the West Landing, and could have caused both men to fall to their deaths, fall into the water. Or yeah, maybe he snapped and just killed them, although there was no evidence of like a fight taking place. But maybe it was cold and calculated. Maybe he took out his colleagues and then jumped into the water himself.
Well, they need to check that coat for bloodstains, Alex, because he's hacked them to death with some kind of instrument, taken off his coat to wash it, to scrub it, and then has thought, what the hell have I done? And has gone outside, left his coat up, locked the doors, and jumped into the sea.
That's a good theory. That's a good theory. I mean, it's. I don't know why they've picked on this one person. Like any of them could have snapped. Apparently, he had a volatile nature, but there's literally no evidence. So you're just kind of accusing this one guy of snapping and killing the other 2.
Yeah.
Oh, can I have a go? I think I've got a theory.
Go on then.
Go on, Jonesy.
So, why would you not put your coat on? That's what's getting me. Why is there one coat and why the door's locked? And I reckon one of them had an accident in the lighthouse.
Well, shat himself.
No, like fell and hurt himself really badly, or was really sick or something like that, was really ill. So they bundled the guy up, right? So they don't put his coat on him because they've bundled him up in like blankets or whatever. They carry him down to the dock, whatever it is, to the only boat they've got, right? So then these guys have got their coats on. They've locked up because they're actually going back to the mainland to get the guy some treatment. Little did they know, big storm incoming. They get him in the little boat. They get smashed against the rocks. Boat's destroyed. They all drown and die. Doors are locked. Oilskin coat's disappeared. Well, one oilskin coat remains.
That's a good theory. I haven't heard that theory before. And I like that theory because that's a more positive spin. It doesn't assume the worst in humanity.
They tried to help.
They were trying to help their friends
and
not murder each other. Yeah, I like that one. Obviously, because this mystery has never been solved and likely at this point never will be solved, this has led to some pretty wild theories, obviously. If you were to ask some of the locals in the Hebrides kind of around this time and in the decades afterwards, they had some... You're not 100% of the way off, yeah. They would speak of giant seabirds snatching the men away, or monstrous sea serpents. Obviously, it's Scotland. They like their sea serpents.
Yeah, sea serpents.
Rising out of the depths, looking for something to eat whilst the men were on their lunch break.
Quick trip to Tesco, meal deal.
Exactly.
Sea serpent.
One theory is that the men themselves arranged to their own passage off the island, and that this was an inside job, and they just wanted to get away, leave their wives, and fake their own deaths. But they never cropped up ever again, so we don't.
You think
know.
they'd fake it better though, right? Because if you fake your own death, then you obviously die. So you'd think that they would have done something to like. Maybe that's the journal entries. You know, that's where that idea comes from. But that's a bit weird, isn't it?
Maybe. Although I did forget about this, we can pretty much rule the journal entries out. So a 2014 Freedom of Information Act request revealed that the Northern Lighthouse Board doesn't have the logbooks, and they haven't been seen since the 1901 inquest. And apparently, it was unlikely that the person who was apparently writing these logbook entries, Thomas MacArthur, would even be writing in the logbook, because that would have been the job of James Ducat. So the story of the logbooks, we don't really know about them.
Either they've got the author wrong, and they got the details wrong, or they might not even exist.
Either way, whatever logbooks there were, they were last used in an inquest in 1901 and haven't been seen since. So the stories of the horrible storm that brought them to tears, and the roaring fireplace and everything, that would have been likely made up by the same locals that said that massive seabirds carried them off.
Isn't there? There's one more theory though, Alex. There's one more theory.
I think you can put this into most conspiracy theories and mysteries. There's always this one, isn't there? Do you want to say it?
I want to know.
Oh, go on. I don't know. No, what was your one?
No, we gotta carry on. I don't want to ruin what you're going to say.
Well, just literally one word: aliens.
No, that wasn't actually what I was going to say.
Okay, go on.
Yes, always aliens. So who are these guys who are coming onto the island? They're there to take over the shift, right?
Yeah.
They get into a fight. They kill them, chuck the bodies in the sea, and then are like, we couldn't find the guys on the island. They weren't here. There was a coat left. The doors, they made a mistake. They left a coat by mistake. They locked the doors in a panic. And so when they fed back, they're like, oh yeah, the doors were locked. Whereas actually, of course, if there'd been a terrible accident, or people had to leave in a rush, they wouldn't have necessarily, the doors wouldn't have been locked. They would have been open. So perhaps there had been an argument when they got onto the island, falling out. The people had ended up killing.
So they murdered them. What?
They killed them on the island. Yeah, perhaps.
I mean, I like that theory, although you've kind of gone the opposite way from Jonesy and assuming the worst in humanity, that they just arrived, had a bit of an argument and killed them. But also that doesn't explain that the first ship to see that there was a problem was the Arcta, which was 11 days before the Hesperus first arrived on the island.
No, they're in it too. They're in it too.
They're in it. They just laying the groundwork for the murder that was about to take place.
No, you're right though. That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, I do. My favorite theory so far might be Jonesy's theory, because
nice.
The Arcta
Agreed.
noted that the ship's light was off, but maybe at that point, one of them was just ill, under the weather, and they wanted to seek help for him. So they were showing that there was something wrong by the lighthouse being off.
It's in order for someone to come and help them. Maybe.
And then, with the whoever it was rapidly deteriorating, they thought they'd risk it and try and get him back to the mainland, because no ship had arrived for 11 days. It took anyone to get there. Maybe they realized that, by the time someone arrives, it's going to be too late, and they thought they'd risk it. I like that theory.
Yeah, it's quite possible. Quite possible. Yeah. Yeah.
Or possibly you could go for the Gerard Butler approach. Did any of you see that film with Gerard Butler that was inspired by this story?
No, but I knew one existed.
I can't remember what it was called.
Probably like The Lighthouse.
Well, actually, no. There was a Lighthouse film in 2019. I don't think that was inspired. It might have been inspired, but it's a different story entirely.
Inspired by the same Flannan excellence.
Amazing. Let me find it.
I was going to actually say, is there a film that someone's taken and sort of like tried to work out what happened? Because I do like it when people do that.
Is the Jared Butler one like an action movie though, right?
Yeah, well, that's it.
Yeah,
it's called the Vanishing, and what happened in that story, I think, is, and I could be wrong here because I haven't seen the film, but I've watched the trailer, and it seems like they find some treasure or something on the island, and then some people come looking for it. So it's it's almost like a Home Alone situation, but they're like defending the island from like the mob or something. I don't know.
It sounds like the worst version
that you could possibly have on this. Yeah, it was something like that. I mean, I've probably done that movie a complete disservice. It's probably totally different plot.
What was it called again?
The Vanishing.
The Vanishing.
Yeah.
Let's see if you've done a disservice. I don't think you've done a disservice. Actually, Rotten Tomatoes 85%.
Wow. Okay.
IMDb 5.9. So somewhere between the two, probably.
Okay, so I've just read the plot, and I've got it a bit wrong there. So I won't. It's similar, but it's not that action packed. It sounds like there's not as many fatalities as I was expecting.
Just 3.
Yeah, just the 3.
So yeah, would if you want to see a film inspired by the story, maybe watch that, or you could watch the one with Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. Came out in 2019 called The Lighthouse. But I don't think that was based on this story. I think that was a totally different story. So in summary, what's your favorite theories, do you think? I think my favorite theory is probably Jonesy's theory.
I like your theory too. I think it makes a lot of sense. It's logical.
I came up with it, so I like it, but I quite like Martin's Jonathan Creek-esque, like where they are the new people arrive and then they kill them, and then it's all like they managed to convince people that they weren't there when we arrived. It was empty, but actually all this crazy stuff went on when they got there and said, "You're crap. You didn't leave the light on," and then they had a big fight and they ended up dumping them over the cliff and staged the scene.
The lighthouse going off was purely coincidental. They got there, they turned up, and they were all drunk and they weren't doing their jobs properly. And a melee ensued. And they were murdered. Dumped 2 of them. 2 of them happened to be in their jackets. The third wasn't in his jacket, so they just threw him into the sea regardless.
I mean, could all the men not claim that it was self-defense? If all the recovery
days, no, they've been strung up. No, I don't know.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, let us know what you think of this mystery at home, and what do you think happened to the 3 men at Eileen Moor. But it's a good mystery. I like this one. It's just like there's no wrong answers, and anything could have happened. I think if it wasn't that theory, that's a new one that I haven't heard before, Jonesy. If it wasn't for that one, I'd say the original inquest was probably along the right lines. That maybe 2 of them wanted to secure this, the equipment down on the western side of the island. A massive rogue wave washed them into the water, and then the 3rd lighthouse keeper maybe left his post, left his coat behind, and perished whilst trying to save his friends. I think that's probably quite a likely option. Yeah. But do you think it was aliens or giant mutated birds or sea serpents? Let us know in the comments down below, or let us know on our social media if you follow us. I'm on Twitter at JustAlexing.
I'm at Mart Interesting.
How about you, Jonesy? What's your
I'm
Twitter
at
handle?
SuperShow Jonesy. So yeah.
Jonesy, and you're also SuperShow Jonesy on YouTube.
I am, yes, I am as well. But main SuperShow Pod. That's the best place to
And then both of those Super Show pod. So yeah, I know that we have a fair bit of crossover audience, but if you haven't checked out the Super Show, have a look. If you're into your games, check it out. If you're not, check it out as well, because there's a lot more to it than just video games. It is hilarious. So please do go and check it out, and you won't regret it for sure.
Thank you very much for saying so.
Now, Super Show versus Just Interesting. Who do you think's going to win? Let's find out. Welcome, gentlemen, to this week's quiz. As always, I expect you'll know, Jonesy, since I'm sure you remember your experience last time. But there is 10 questions, all of them general knowledge, and a bonus question if we need it. Do you understand the rules of the podcast quiz? Do you need me to go over anything, or it's
refresh me just so I'm not going to mess up.
Actually, what are the rules? There's only one rule.
So
there are no rules.
If someone buzzes in and they get it wrong, you can't buzz in again until the other person's had a go. That's the rule.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. If you buzz in and you don't know the answer when you buzz in, that's a legitimate tactic.
It's legit, but it's
you only get a
discretionary.
few seconds.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
That's
Question.
It. Rules done.
Oh, I need buzzers. Jonesy, what's your buzzer?
This is my buzzer.
Nice.
Iconic.
Gear Solid.
Bit of Metal Gear Solid.
The old gaming theme. Nice.
Martin, how about you?
Same as last time.
Get you right. I'm happiest in the saddle.
Christopher Walken. Oh. There we go. Okay.
You good?
Sorry about that.
That's
all good.
right.
Just sorting shit out, you know how it is.
Okay. Question number 1. We need like some kind of sting there, don't we? We need some music just to be like, do 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 do.
I was going to say Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. No. Okay. Question number 1. On the theme of, the Lighthouse, who directed the 2019 film The Lighthouse, starring Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe?
Who would? Yeah.
I'm going to say David Fincher as a guess.
It's not David Fincher.
No.
Who would direct that film?
I'm thinking this is quite a hard question.
I'm happiest in the saddle.
Is it Mel Gibson?
It's not Mel Gibson.
I have no idea. I could just name anyone. Imagine that.
It's not Mel Gibson.
Who's it? Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson.
I can tell you some of the films that he's done before.
Okay.
Let me IMDb him, because I'm not sure if he wrote any of these or was exclusively director. Okay, so his previous film was The Witch in 2015.
The Witch.
And then he's just done short films. Yeah, maybe this was a really difficult question.
This is mental. Question number 1.
Yeah, I've got no idea.
Have we heard of him?
I wanted to. I think when I heard this, I had heard of him, but I thought he was maybe more of a household name. So I'll tell you, it's Robert Eggers.
I wouldn't have got that one.
No.
Oh, okay.
It rings a bell, but a very vague. More like a boy out at sea, rather than a bell. Yeah.
Robert Eggers directed it. Okay, question number 2. A pyroclastic flow comes from which natural structure?
Oh.
I'm happiest.
I heard some Metal Gear Solid there in the background.
I'm going to guess a volcano.
It is a volcano, yeah.
Right.
Come on.
Well done, Jones. That's 1-0.
Right. Change your buzzer. That wasn't working for me. I was having to put it in the middle of the video every time. It just messing up.
This is unprecedented, Martin. Okay, what's your new buzzer, just so we know?
Like the good times would never end. Then, China happened.
Okay.
No context. No context to that for anyone who hasn't seen it.
We haven't discussed that, whether that's allowed in the rules to change your buzzer halfway through.
It just wasn't working, mate. It wasn't
Okay.
working. There was a whole load of silence at the beginning, and I was having to put it bang in the middle every time. It was just a logistical nightmare.
I'll allow it. Okay. Question number 3. Out of the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, which film earned the least at the box office?
See, like the good times.
I think I heard Jonesy. Yeah.
I'm gonna say Hulk.
Is that your guess, Hulk?
Oh, do I need to get the actual name of the film? Oh God, what is it actually? Is it called The Incredible Hulk? Oh, there've been a few. I don't know which one's in the actual Marvel.
If it is that one, you can have the point.
It is the Incredible Hulk. Yeah. I wouldn't have been that much of a dick about it, except for the fact that there is a film that's just called Hulk.
Yeah,
I can't remember which was which, because I know one of them is the Edward Norton one, and the other one is obviously the Ruffalo one. I can't remember which was which.
It's Ruffalo, isn't it? Or is it Norton actually?
No, it was someone else. It wasn't Mark Ruffalo before.
Oh, is it not Ruffalo?
Edward Norton. Mark Ruffalo came into it in Avengers, I think was his first film.
it's I know. I think who it is. It's Banner. Not Banner.
That's the character.
No, the Australian actor.
Yeah, I know who you mean.
Eric Banner.
Yeah, but that film was not technically in the MCU.
You're right. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking. Sorry, you're talking about Hulk.
Yeah,
I thought you were talking about the Incredible Hulk, which is Norton, isn't it? It's Edward Norton.
Yeah.
Yes,
so the Incredible Hulk was, I think, the first film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, wasn't it? Or
Iron Man, wasn't it?
Maybe just after Iron Man.
It's number 2. It's number 2, right?
Oh, number 2. Okay.
I think it's 2. It might be 3.
Yeah. And it grossed $134.8 million at the box office, which I'm not sure if it even
maybe lost money then on that. Yeah,
made its money back from that.
Yeah, it doesn't sound great.
But it was the worst performing one, and they went, pretty much up from there.
Fucking hell! There's a giant spider just crawled over my foot.
Oh God!
Jesus Christ!
My plan to win the quiz is working. I planted a giant spider.
That spider just crawled. Oh my God! Okay, it's gone under this. Oh, has it?
I would be freaking out right now, Martin. I'd be screaming.
It's all right. It's okay. I was there. Okay, it's by my foot now.
What?
Okay.
Get rid of it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna take outside. Do you want to take this outside? I'm just gonna get a cup and take outside. Give me a sec.
Okay. Oh my God. I can't. If that happened to me, I would not be reacting the same way Martin is. I'd be screaming. I wouldn't even say anything. I'd just scream and leave the room.
You would you? Are you not a fan of spiders?
No. And then you'd see Jade come into the camera looking annoyed and just have to deal with it.
With a glass and a bit of paper.
Yeah. Yeah. With me just in the background yelling, "Kill it! Kill it! Kill it!"
There was a massive one on my wall the other day, and it actually made me jump because I didn't see it, and I was standing right next to it, and suddenly I saw it, and I was like, and it was quite big. It was about this big. But then I tried to then video myself picking it up because I've got a mate who hates them, and I was send videos of me like picking up spiders to him and like with them crawling on my hand or something, and but when I went to grab it, it dropped to the floor and just like scuttled underneath something.
Oh God. See those videos are the worst when you see people like going to pick them, but then it like jumps at the last second. Like,
yeah.
Oh, I hate that. I know what you mean though. That's the worst. Like when you're focusing on something and it's like just slowly creeping into the corner of your vision.
You want to see it?
Like, sure. Yeah. Let's go for it.
Sure. It's not too bad actually. This is a big old pint glass, so mine.
Oh my God, Martin, that is disgusting. Oh
it's
God,
quite big.
It's quite
takes
big.
Up takes like half the pint glass.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Burn it with fire.
Take them outside. I think it's pretending to be. Oh yeah, hello. Oh, it's secreting something weird. Oh, it's missing a leg.
Did you chop its leg off by accident?
No, I didn't. I don't think so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's missing a leg. Fuck.
You've got a random spider's leg somewhere in your house.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll just check outside. Be back in a sec. Sorry about that.
Is he outside?
Yeah. Gone.
I still think you should have just killed it, burnt it.
Yeah, I have killed them in
Discarded
the
the
past. I've killed
ashes.
some in the past, but I thought on camera it doesn't make me look good, does it?
Okay, so now that we've finally gotten rid of that distraction, shall we move on to question number 4? That is 2-0 to Jonesy currently. Martin, you gotta come back from this.
I know,
You're
I
representing
know.
the Just Interesting
Yeah.
team. Okay.
Badly at the moment.
Okay, question number 4. Which element has the atomic number 6?
Would never end. But then, China happened.
That would
Go
be
on then, Martin.
oxygen.
It's not oxygen.
Damn. 6.
Pretty light. I'm going to go, maybe that's 2. Let's go helium.
That's my second guess.
It's not helium.
Glad I didn't say it. Oxygen, helium is not hydrogen. That's 1.
Shall I give you a clue?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how to give you a clue without being super obvious. I'll just say you're circling it. It's a pretty big one.
Do I have to wait until Martin to go again? Because I've already went.
No. So
No,
once
it's
you've
open
both
again.
gone,
Go
you
for
can,
it.
Oh, okay.
it's open again.
Nitrogen.
It's not nitrogen.
Nitrogen, oxygen, helium. Trying to think of gases now. What about? I think what the helium, nitrogen, oxygen.
I think I know what it is. I think I've had an epiphany.
Martin, you've got to get it on this guess.
I know. It's just too much pressure.
I'm sorry.
Shit. She wrote. It is. Shit. Nah. I can't think.
You passing it?
I think I'm going to have to.
Is it carbon?
No,
It
it's
is
can't be
carbon.
What?
It's carbon.
Come on.
This bullshit. It's bullshit. I was gonna. I thought that was way too low.
high up on the list or low, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was surprised by that as well, actually.
I've just accidentally turned on a Shaun the Sheep. So, it's not Shaun, is it? I don't know what it is.
We're gonna get copyright claimed by Shaun the Sheep now.
It's a sleep sheep.
You switched him off? Is he all good?
There we go. Okay, good. I just had to hold down his paw.
Okay.
We're all good. Sheeps have paws? Probably not. This one does. Okay.
So that is now 3-0 to Jonesy as we move on to question number 5. Okay. This may be a fingers on buzzers. Just to pre-warn you. A flock of which bird is called a gaggle?
Seemed like the good times would never end.
Go on then, Martin.
That's Martin, yeah.
Geese.
It is geese, yes.
Well done.
Nicely done.
No, it was all about the buzzer there, Jonesy. That was one that you certainly knew too. You're a geese fan.
Yeah, I am. I thought it was going to be a crow, the murder crow thing. I thought that was going to be the angle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Question number 6. That's 3-1 to Jonesy. Which NATO member country is the only one with no permanent professional army?
Times would never end.
Oh, I think I did hear Jonesy then.
I'm going to say Germany.
It's not Germany.
Oh,
That's a good guess, though, actually.
Oh no,
I was guessing that maybe they weren't allowed one still.
I was thinking that, yeah, but surely they'd be allowed one now.
I don't know.
What about Japan? Are they a permanent NATO member?
It's not Japan. It's not Japan.
Not permanent. Not permanent enough. Maybe they've got an army.
Oh, what's a good clue for this one?
We could just keep on guessing.
Okay.
Have another guess.
This is tough. I couldn't think of who have been permanent members of NATO. What about Australia?
I didn't hear a buzzer then, Jonesy.
Oh, we have to buzz every time. Australia.
It's not Australia.
Oh, what?
Cruel. I'm thinking Europe. What about?
Would never end. But then, China happened.
Could it be European? Switzerland.
It's not Switzerland. It's a good idea.
Man, this is tough.
Okay, so I give you guys a clue.
Yeah,
Okay.
go on.
So, kind of, it's in between the US and Europe.
Then,
Oh, I think I heard literally like the start of Martin's and Jonesy's at the exact same time.
We can go 3, 2, 1. We could do a 3, 2, 1 and say it at the same time.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to do that?
Could be Rogue. Could be Rogue
double,
and Fun.
Could get a double point, and or one of you.
Or one of us get it, the other one doesn't. Ready?
Are
3,
you happy with that?
2.
Yeah.
Oh, you can do the countdown actually, Alex. That makes more sense.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Iceland.
Canada.
It's Iceland.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Between the US and I see, geographically between the US and Europe. I was thinking more like the customs that they have are more European, but they're actually North American. I see.
Why
Yeah.
would you think
Canada's
I
a good
meant it
shout,
in an
though.
abstract way?
But Canada's a good shout because you said Canada, and I was like, "Oh God, is that actually sounds?" I could imagine that. Like, what are they going to protect from? Why do they need an army?
They've got the Mounties. They're good. They don't need
Yeah.
anything else. Yeah.
No. All right, Iceland. Wow,
It
good.
was Iceland, I'm
good
afraid. They
shout.
probably don't have enough of a population to actually have a standing army. I think that's.
I get.
That's
Do they have
also
a,
true.
I wonder if they have a standing navy because that would kind of make more sense, I guess.
Possibly.
Perhaps.
Well, actually, no. It's no permanent professional army, so I guess not.
Oh, okay, right. Just none at all.
So there you go. That is 4-1 to Jonesy. But you've still got time to win this, Martin.
There's time. Not much time, but there's time.
Okay. Question number 7. According to the 1516 German purity law, beer can only contain 3 ingredients. What are they?
but then, China happened.
He's got me beat on this all day, hasn't he?
I think I did hear you, Martin.
Only contain 3 ingredients. Are we counting water as red or not?
That's not red. That's like that. That's
That can
you
be
can count
water.
that. You can count that as an ingredient if you want.
Okay. Water, malt, and yeast. Because hops are optional.
That is not according to the German purity law.
Well, that's ridiculous because beer doesn't have to contain hops.
I was going to say water, hops, and yeast.
It's not water, hops, and yeast.
Oh, what?
It has to be water, malt, and hops then, but that doesn't make any sense.
Maybe this is think like German beers around this time. Maybe it's something that they all have. I don't know.
Water.
Wait, hang on. Oh yeah, no, sorry, that's right.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Water, yeast, and barley.
That is incorrect.
Oh, I've got no idea.
Water and some kind of fermentable yeast have to be there for beer because it has to ferment. So it has to be water and yeast, and then if they're not saying hops and they're not saying malt, then what they're using? What else are they using then? Has to be one of those two: water, hops, water, yeast, and hops. But then there's no malt. Or are they not saying malt? They're saying sugar. They're saying sugar, aren't they? They're saying water, yeast, and sugar.
That is incorrect.
Or grain.
I'll give you a clue. I'll give you 2 clues actually. I think maybe forget about yeast. Take that as read. So yeast is not in this.
Okay.
And I will say, other than that, hang on. I'll say the. Oh no,
Yeah.
go on. Before I say the rest of the clue, go on.
You've
You've rushed in.
It's wrong. Okay, water, malt, and hops.
That's incorrect.
That's ridiculous.
I'll say the rest of the clue now.
Go on, yeah, say the rest.
Between what you've all said at the moment, you've got all the ingredients just the wrong way round. So, like, in all of your guesses, you have said everything that this contains, but just not in the right order. Go on then,
In the right
Jason.
order.
Well, no, like,
Combination. We haven't.
Right, the right combination hasn't come up.
So we said yeast is red, so not in there. So water,
and hops,
hops, and sugar.
Nope, not water, hops, and sugar.
Are they being specific? They're actually saying water, hops, and barley, or barley malt. Water, hops, and malt. There's nothing else. There's no other. There's water, hops, and barley malt. Water, hops, and barley.
Do you know what, Martin? Martin, you're going crazy, and I'm going to give it to you because you are right. It's water, hops, and barley, but that's what they say.
We can go water, hops, and barley.
And you said that with the malt and then barley malt and barley. So I'll allow it.
Yeah. Okay. Barley is malt. Malt is barley.
Yeah.
As in. I'm pretty sure it's always.
But they say water, hops, and barley. I don't even know what this German purity law is. I just put this in there, Martin, for the benefit of you, because the next 3 questions are going to be gaming questions.
Okay, I see. Okay. Well, thank you very much, and apologies for getting so animated over what is essentially a fun in brackets quiz.
Fair enough. Okay.
In brackets when we're talking about quotation marks. Come on, let's go.
Okay. So that is 4-2 to Jonesy as we go on to question number 8. And the next 3 questions are going to be gaming related. But Martin enjoys games as well, so I think you'll have a fighting chance with these questions. Question number 8. What is the best-selling console of all time?
Then China happened.
Oh, again, I heard both at the same time. Do you want to do a 3-2-1?
Okay.
3,
2,
2, 1.
PlayStation 2.
Well done. You both got the point. Well done. So 5-3. The PS2 sold 159 million units. Can you guess what the second highest is? Not for any points, but because it wasn't far behind at all.
Tough. I mean, I want to say PlayStation 3, but I'm going to go maybe the Wii.
It's not the Wii.
I'm going to go for the DS.
It is the DS, yeah.
Is it really?
Well done. The DS family, yeah. So I guess it encapsulates all of the Nintendo DSs that were released. Okay. So maybe it's not a fair comparison, but yeah, the Nintendo DS sold 154 million. So pretty close. Okay. So that's 5-3. Question number 9. What was the first video game played in space?
But then China happened.
Go on then, Martin.
It's going to be 1 out of 2. Pong.
Wasn't Pong.
Damn. I've no idea, but I'll make a guess and say Tetris.
What a guess. What a guess. It's Tetris, yeah.
1 out of 2. That's nice one. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was in 1993, a Russian astronaut playing on his Game Boy on the way to the Mir space station. So I guess the Russian space station that they had. I love the idea that at this point in time, going to space was so boring that literally, instead of looking out the window at like the most amazing view any human could ever imagine, he was just on his Game Boy playing Tetris. I love that.
Yeah.
By amazing view, do you mean that the flat Earth just extending off into the distance?
We've got Alex Jones on the podcast talking about the flat Earth. This video is definitely getting taken down by YouTube.
There was actually there's a sign. Someone has spray painted a road sign on the motorway near my house, just with the Earth is flat.
Nice,
just for fun.
To the point.
Great.
To the point.
To the point.
Nice.
Earth is flat.
Oh,
nice.
That's good.
I mean, yeah, obviously, yeah, that's way more boring than a round Earth. So, hence why he was playing on his Game Boy. It all adds up. Okay, so that is 6-3, meaning Martin, sadly, Jonesy has
it wasn't
beat you.
Yeah.
Jonesy, congratulations, you are the winner of this week's quiz.
Well done, Jonesy. Very good, very good.
Thank you. Well played, Martin.
But Martin, you still have time to wrangle back a couple of points.
True.
As we go on to question number 10. So this is the closest wins. How big was the largest esports prize pool in history in dollars?
This is going to be Chris's Dota 2, isn't it?
I'll tell you, it was a Dota 2 competition, yeah.
Prize pool. All right. I'm going to say 135 million.
Oh, that's crazy, because I was thinking something very similar. I was thinking maybe even a tiny bit higher. I was thinking maybe 150. Because I know it gets insane sometimes. Yeah, 150, why not?
Well, I have to say that Jonesy is closer, but you're both quite a way off. It's actually, esports hasn't quite reached that level yet. This was
really?
34,330,000.
I thought they'd broken 100 million, but okay, fair enough. Yeah.
I think that's
total.
So this was so this is the prize pool. This is like the total. I think the part of the reason why Dota's is so high is because they open it up as like crowdfunded. So I think for a while they sell skins in the game, but it all goes towards the prize pool.
Yeah, exactly. So for the international, they do a big thing where they open it up, and if you put money in, you get a whole load of stuff towards you. So you don't just get one thing either. It's not like you buy one skin. It's you get a load of. I think it's almost like a compendium, and it costs like, I don't know, like $40 or something, or $30,
right.
and if everyone buys it, and that all goes towards it. So yeah, can get ludicrous. I thought it was bigger. You know what it is? It's Chris every year being like, "Wow, it's the biggest one ever. It's amazing." And I'm like, "How big is this now?"
Yeah, I mean, this was, I think, the most recent one. It was the 2019 Dota International or something. But then obviously, actually, I'm not sure why, but I think it got delayed to 2021.
They didn't have it because of COVID.
Was that why they didn't have it? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't sure about the timing. But okay, yeah, that makes sense. So I think this one still hasn't yet to happen. So it's possible that the prize pool is actually still going up. I'm not sure.
Come on, Chris. Get in the game.
Win some of that.
34 million. Yeah.
Crazy. I wish I was like that good at playing a game. I could earn just a slice of that.
Yeah,
please.
You're getting there with Rocket League, Alex. You're getting there, aren't you? Slowly but surely.
Diamond rank. Yes, thank you. Okay, would you like the bonus question?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, let's do it.
Also a closest wins. In what year was the hot air balloon invented?
Oh, wonderful. Okay, so I've seen Around the World in 80 Days with Jackie Chan and Steve Coogan. And
a documentary, basically.
Documentary. And that was filmed in about 2003, so it's probably before 2003.
I don't know why I've got a year. I'm going to say 1873.
Okay.
I have no idea why.
1848.
Well, Martin, you are the closest, but Jonesy, in a weird way, you have got all of the correct numbers in there.
Is it 1837?
No, it was 1783.
Wow, 17. Okay, crazy. That's mad.
Yeah, I think it was the first flight. Or maybe I'm thinking of a different one, but it was over Paris, I believe. It was a French
around the world in
aviation expert.
Yeah, like I said,
I don't think he was the first one to fly a hot air balloon at that point.
Steve Coogan wasn't.
Steve Coogan wasn't.
Steve Coogan.
No.
I suppose actually that makes sense because planes weren't long after like 1873, right? So I guess it's got to be a decent chunk before that. But yeah, okay. Wow, that's a lot earlier than I thought, though.
What a mad thing to discover you can do. Just put a whole load of hot air into a balloon and fly around. Mental. I'm surprised there aren't more hot air balloon accidents, to be honest.
With like absolute respect to the first person who got in that basket and was like, let's just do it.
Yeah. How do we
just
stop
trust
this?
It, yeah. Am I just going to keep going up? How does this work? Yeah. Interestingly, it's not the first. It's not the first time that humans ever flew, though. I think there's
on the back of birds,
giant birds that carry you off of the islands.
Have you seen Lord of the Rings?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Well, no, I've seen that bit. I haven't seen the Lord of the Rings, but I've seen that bit.
You haven't seen the Lord of the Rings,
but you've seen that bit. You've seen the end of the films.
Yeah, so I've seen. I'm going to get abuse again because I got abuse for this when I said this on our podcast. I haven't seen like any of the films the whole way through because I kept falling asleep every time I tried to watch them, and then I've seen like a bits of them, but I haven't seen from start to finish.
That
makes no sense to me. And to be honest, after you've said that, I'm glad we've reached the end of the podcast.
Leave now. Go on with you. Vanished.
No, that makes more sense now. How you just seen that bit of the films.
No, sorry, you're going to say humans flew before then.
Yeah, sorry, that just completely threw me. I can't remember the name of the guy, but he would jump. He was, I think it was basically like artificial wings, and he jumped off of a building in a Middle Eastern country, but I can't remember which city it was.
Didn't he die?
No, he only seriously hurt himself, so it was fine.
That's great. Is that flying? Is that not just falling?
With style.
Yeah.
I think there's different definitions of it, like fixed wing flight compared with and powered flight, whether he was just gliding. Yeah. I'm not sure what the
because I've said the Wright brothers are first man-powered flight, aren't they?
No, interestingly not. I think actually the amount of like firsts that the Wright brothers did was actually they didn't have that many firsts. I think they had first sustained flight.
Oh, right, okay.
I think the first powered flight was another French person in 1890. Yeah, Clement Ader. He had an uncontrolled. Clement Ader had a monoplane of his own design in 1890 that flew. Yeah.
Did they ever try
heavier than air flight?
Right. Did they ever try? Was it Da Vinci came up with some sort of helicopter? Right. Did they ever try that and see if that actually worked? Because I know he never tried it, did he? Apparently,
I think they did try that, but I don't think it was successful at the time that technology could actually make it work. It needed power, didn't it? It needed an engine.
I wondered if nowadays, if they tried it, if it actually worked, or whether it was just like a bit, just an art installation that would never actually have flown anywhere.
Well, there's that classic. I've seen that like old footage of people on like a pedal power thing, and it's like a helicopter, but it just goes up, like it pushes up and down. But that obviously never worked. Interestingly, I saw a video, or I think a university recently did make a human pedal powered helicopter, and it has like an insane number of blades. It took up like the entirety of like a basketball court size.
Just one was a basketball court, like
yeah.
Thing. Oh, blimey, okay.
And it worked.
One really light person sat on a chair pedaling furiously just to get like six feet off the ground. Yeah, it worked.
Still crazy.
So the first person I'm thinking of was in the 9th century, Abbas ibn Fanaz was his name, attempted a short gliding flight with wings covered in feathers from the Tower of Cordoba. I'm not sure where this was, but yeah, he injured himself while landing. But that's apparently the first recorded attempt of a human flight.
I mean, fair play jumping off a building. Well, I mean, the
I'm sure
feathers,
people
he's
tried
just seen a
beforehand.
bird, isn't he?
He's just the first one to survive, maybe.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh,
But there we go.
take some guts.
But there we go. Thank you, Jonesy, for joining us this week. I hope you found it interesting.
Yeah, cheers,
hope it was an interesting story. And yeah, everyone, make sure to go and check out the SuperShow podcast. Do you know what the topic of conversation is this week, or what was the last one you spoke about?
The most recent one we spoke about was Apple versus Epic. So there was the result of the court battle that those two companies have been thrashing out. We also were talking about an NVIDIA leak where some data miners managed to get hold of a whole list of games that are sort of unannounced PC games that were coming to NVIDIA's, I think it was GeForce Now offering, but it was a whole load of PC games that don't exist.
Is that their kind of like Game Pass version?
Yeah, I think so.
GeForce,
yeah. And so they were saying, this list, they've said it's just hypothetical, but some of the games on there were weirdly specific. And then sort of people were saying, have they actually just given away the fact that all these games are going to be made soon or are being made? And, we've got a little in there, which was quite interesting.
Awesome. And you've also got your new potentially libelous series of known murderers, which is your Patreon exclusive, where you take a look at celebrities who may or may not have killed people, which is thoroughly enjoyable. So
so they did kill people, but whether or not they were culpable or murdered people, or whether or not they just were at the wrong place at the wrong time and it was accidental.
Hasn't stopped you from calling it known murderer, though.
It hasn't. No, it hasn't.
Good stuff.
I think so we've only done one so far. We're planning the next one soon, but the only one we've done so far is, of course, Matthew Broderick had to be the first known murderer.
Of course, yeah.
Who else?
Oh, great.
Who else?
Great stuff. Well, thanks everyone for joining me this week, and let us know in the comments below what you thought of this mystery. And enjoy your week, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
See ya.